What's up, y'all? Back with another video here. Today, got my little cheat pad here. Today we're going over hip flexors. We're gonna do a little hip flexor protocol. You got pain in that area. The big thing I would say with this program today is this is something you can add into what you're doing. It is meant to be its own piece, as in you could do this on separate days from your workouts, or you could add it to the beginning of your workouts or the end of your workouts that you're already doing. This came from a subscriber, so big shout out to him, one of my one-on-one clients. If you guys are ever wanting a specific little like add-on program or something, anyone who's subscribing, ask me, send it my way. Good chance I'll make a video for you. But anyways, let's get into it. I'm gonna try not to look at the notes too much, but I really hate editing and clipping the videos. So we're gonna do one shoot through. Hopefully you guys get entertained, go through it. So the first thing I'd say, who is this for, right? We're going to be talking about hip flexor pain. So pain in your hip area, kind of right in this front crease. I would say this is for a lot of people. I've struggled with hip flexor pain my whole life. Modern day society doesn't help out, right? We sit a lot. We sit at work. We sit when we drive. We sit and watch TV. We sit and doom scroll, blah, blah, blah. Sitting weakens and shortens that hip flexor. Hip flexors don't like that. They get cranky. So we're going to go over a 3-step protocol. This is something I call we're going to call it the Pain Playbook series. There will be some universal themes here that I think you can do for a lot of musculoskeletal, I'll say dysfunction or weakness injuries. And these may not apply if you're like talking about a tear, something a little more dramatic that happened. But if you have nagging pain, this would be for you if you have nagging, reoccurring pain in an area. So common one is like getting temporary relief from little stretches. Like I might be just yanking on my foot here, trying to lengthen the hip flexor. I might be just going forward in the lunge, the couch stretch. All those are examples of stretching passively through a range of motion. That's going to be known as flexibility, right? Our passive range of motion is flexibility. Important concept to remember. A lot of times, this program will be for you if you do that and you get a little relief, and then you're right back to where you were minutes, hours, the next day later. It just depends how bad your dysfunction is or your weakness. I don't want to say you have a dysfunction. Nothing's wrong with you. You can fix it. But anyways, got our nice little notes here to go through. So I'll be written up too. So if you're watching this on YouTube or just watching the video on Substack, great. I'll show you some exercise demos, but too, there'll be a written article on Substack going through all this, some other linked videos and examples that aren't myself, maybe have a better setup. So anyways, let's get into it. First thing we want to do, we want to localize the joint with mobilization, right? So in this case, we're talking about our hip. What's our hip flexor? What's the closest joint there? Our hip. Our hip is a ball and socket joint. Ball and socket joint, right? So if this, boom, a little ball, socket, it should be able to move 360 degrees in there. These first two things we're going to go through are standing hip mobilizations. I really like these from Austin Jokum. I think I'm saying that right. He's a really cool guy. You should check him out. The first one is going to be standing hip wipers. So if you have a door frame or something, I think it helps for these. You're not getting bonus points for balance, right? I'm trying to get mobilization there. I'm going to switch legs so you guys see a little more. Sorry. See? Blooper. All right. So hip wipers. We're literally kicking through internal, external range of motion. I'm not necessarily whipping from my toe a ton, a little bit, but I'm really trying to turn my hip. Turn. It's not going to be much, but we're just waking everything up. We're getting active range of motion here. That's the difference too, right? Active range of motion means I'm turning, flexing that hip. So when I go this way, I know that's me rotating and flexing my hip. When I go this way, I know that's me rotating and flexing my hip. We're going through internal, external rotation. An example of more passive would be me whipping my foot, right? I don't have control over that from a muscle standpoint. I am just whipping into it. We'll get into some more examples later, but hopefully that's a good one. So hip wipers, you can do these ones daily. They're very like localized fatiguing, but they're not going to fatigue your whole system a lot, right? So you do these daily, 1 to 2 sets, probably help you feel pretty good. Even if you don't have hip pain, this could be a good like uh, prehab, keep you away from hip pain. If you've had it before, that's what I tend to do now. So the first one, the hip wipers. We're gonna get a little more advanced now. Turn out here, but we're just gonna open and close the gates. So I raise up. Again, all this is active, so I'm turning out from my hip, turning internal, oof, going under external, back up. So that's one way. So boom, a little faster, I turn, I go back in. And I'm not the best of these either. Like I'm human. You don't have to be perfect, just the intent is there, right? All right, so that's one way, and then we just reverse that. So we can go some circles that way. Boom, boom, we're back. So boom, boom. There's some ground-based drills you can do with both of these too, right? I like the standing for the reason of, just like we said, keeping everything active. We're already used to sitting a lot and slouching and not being active while we're sitting. So for most people, feeling that sensation first of doing it standing is going to be a lot better than the sitting variations. Doesn't mean any of those are bad. There's a ton of other stretches and mobilizations and strength exercises you can do for the hip flexors. These are just the ones that I think are the most accessible and give you the most bang for your buck, right? Or just work for me or my clients. So went through those, right? Step one, that's done. We just localized, warmed up the joint in the area in question. If we had shoulder pain, knee pain, elbow pain, we would track to the nearest joint and do the same. Cool. So step two, now that we got that warmed up, it's kind of like a mini workout. We want to get strong in that area. This is where active range of motion comes in again. If you have just been spamming passive stretching, like I used to do this all the time, so I'm hand up guilty. I know a lot of people are probably guilty of it. Feels good in the moment, right? Just cranking the couch, stretch, leaning back. You're lengthening that muscle, right? Like we're just lengthening that muscle, stretching it out. But that's just us providing a force on it externally. We want that muscle to be able to support itself in those ranges of motion, right? Can the muscle support the joint? That is the difference between mobility and flexibility. Active range of motion, active range of motion, mobility, passive range of motion, flexibility. We'll get into some more examples of that in a minute. So we're getting strong, right? First thing we're going to go over, peek here. Cool. Same thing. I have this cool little rack right here. You can do this in a door frame, by a wall. It doesn't matter. Active. So I'm going to go perfect example, active versus passive. A front single hip flexor raise. I'm tall, this foot's planted, glutes, core, everything's up and slightly flexed, right? It's just ready, not being passive. This is me being a passive leg raise, right? I'm just kicking, I'm kicking, I'm kicking, I'm kicking. There is some momentum carrying me into a range of motion that if I moved at a slower speed, I could not reach on my own, right? And I'm going to show you right here. So here's me doing that same thing, slow and controlled from my hip. Legs out, here. I raise, I raise, I raise. Look at that. Now, granted, I could lean back some, but look at the difference in what I just did. Here, I'm flexible. Flexibility, right? I can hit that to the day cows come home above my head, and I'm 6'3". Active, though. Let me use that muscle on this long leg of mine. I'm weak as piss. I get it here. Boom. That's controlled. If I try to go higher than that, even here, as I get fatigued, it's tough. And I'm not copping you out. Trust me, find someone with strong hip flexors. I guarantee you they will get their leg higher. Guarantee you. So that's our first exercise right there, though, right? We're doing active range of motion now that we got that concept grasped again. We're going to go about 2 sets of these per leg to failure. They're low movement, low, like we can still progressive overload these like a regular strength movement, but the overall stimulus on our body's pretty low. So I'd say for the second phase, these are things you could do 1 to 2, maybe 3 times a week. I think 2 would be good. But you want to treat these like your strength lifts. It's like your curls, your benches, your squats. It's very small, but progressive overload's still king. We want to get that stuff stronger so our active range of motion goes up, right? We don't necessarily want to stretch and get more passive and flexible. You already are doing that. We need to get stronger and be more mobile and in control of more range of motion. So going along that same motion, we can hit around the area and do abduction, adduction of the hip. So we're just here, boom, I'm pulling out of the side. And if you like to hit different foot positions here, totally cool. You can kind of have the foot turned up and out or flat. I've never experimented with going super internal, but let's not get too picky. Again, kind of going those just to about failure, staying tall. And like, here's what a set of failure would look like to give a good example. So like there, boom, 1, right? I can kind of, we'll give a good example. So say like I'm crushing those, like I'm pretty good at that, right? Ankle weights. We can progressive overload these little things too. We'll get into this next, but another tool called the monkey feet is also awesome. But let's say you start off with something simple like ankle weights. So I'm here, boom, controlling the lowering, right? Strength. If I drop, that's not active. If I'm not in control, if I couldn't place a glass of water on it, it's not active. Adding just a little bit of weight right there, probably go a couple more, but they get tough real quick. So it's one way to overload these pretty quickly. Next one we're going to go to, this is where if you have, there's a tool called the monkey foot. Super cool. I've never got one myself. I need to, but I'm going to show you the poor man's monkey foot. We're essentially going to transition now. We just worked on long lever stuff from a physics standpoint, right? Our leg was a long lever. We were making it harder for us. But our hip flexor likes to work in long and short levers from that kind of movement viewpoint. So the next thing we're going to do is short lever hip raises. You can do these on a cable machine, kind of like a push through. Say like this band was a cable here. I walked out. Maybe I have something to hold. I'm driving. This can get a little finicky, but doesn't mean they're not bad. And then we're going to go over this option. Sorry, I got a lot out of place there. Poor man's monkey foot. Another short lever hip flexor raise. I use towels barefoot with the kettlebells. I've gotten up to like 50 pounds like this. You're limited by your toe flexion, but it's not bad. So what I do is you get some height. Again, this is a little home, my commercial gym goers, this might not be the best setup for you. Home gym goers, you got the stuff, awesome. Multiple ways to skin this cat. Cables, dumbbell with the monkey foot, kettlebell. I'm sure if you got another creative one I'm missing, I'd love to see it and tell people put me on. So this is my setup I normally do. Stack, hand support. Again, I'm trying to take some principles from bodybuilding, right? We're like, we want this to work in the system, but I'm trying to isolate the area. I don't want to use my entire body. I kind of make a bodybuilding machine for it, right? So boom, here, raised, and it's controlled, it's lowered, boom. And I'm basically, for me, this is easy, right? If I can't keep my toes flexed up and this starts to dip, like I'm done. That's pretty simple. If you had the monkey foot or something, I would say slow, lower. So I probably got a couple more. This is burning. Whew. These are great for your quads and groin too. I'm being a little specific for this video, trying to be just the hip flexor, but don't think just because we're doing like injury prevention or maintenance work, you can't get jacked from it, right? Good. That's like good exercises. A product of them is going to be building muscle. This can really build some good muscle, but you got to train it hard. Cool. Next thing, last one. Oh, last two for getting strong here. I personally don't love these. I don't know if it's because I just got long legs or what. I've never in a commercial gym or my own home gym been able to get them set up right with cables or a band. But Ben Patrick, knees over toes guy, whatever his name, I think that's him. He's, I think, someone who really popularized these, and it's the reverse squat. So essentially, we'd be laying on our back. This would be cable clipped or around my foot, and I would be on my back, pulling. Boom, boom. A lot of people swear by them. I'm not saying they're bad. Personally, for me, I like the standing options that I showed you first better than that. The last one we're going to go through is we've done some like short lever, long lever stuff. These have all been flexion, but we're also going to go over extension of the hip flexor. Again, there's more exercises than just all these we're talking about, but this is my little favorite list. So go ahead and set this up. We're doing band assisted reverse Nordics. This is a good example of the difference between me being in a couch stretch down here. Boom. Just, I'm not even squeezing my butt. I'm just torquing my ankle up, driving passive, passive extension versus me holding these Nordics, whether you can do them partial range of motion or full range of motion with a band, whatever. You being able to maintain active extension also increases our range of motion, right? Range of motion is flexion all the way to extension. It's a spectrum. It's not just one way and stops. I like to think of it around the street. If you do it one way, it probably will help you to do the other way, right? So I'll try these first so you can see me die with nothing. I recommend putting a mat under you, but I'm stupid and didn't. So this is like a hovering plank. My butt's clenched. My hip flexors are long and straight. And I go back as far as I can. So, and I have these here, and I was really flexible and strong. I mean, really mobile and strong. I go all the way down, and then I flex my hip flexors, glutes, and quads. It pulls me up with my core. Right? Those are hard. I just realized you guys lost the speaker. Sorry. Those are hard, right? So another one you could do: cable or band setup. You got it anchored good. Boom. I can achieve that deeper range of motion. Flex up. I could probably go a little deeper, but I'm not trying to die on video without falling on me or my hat fall off again. But again, you get the idea. So everything in section 2 we just went over. To recap, that's strengthening it 1 to 2 times a week is probably good. That's stuff I would recommend either adding the beginning or end of your training. Certainly can be a great warm-up replacement right before you get into your heavier compound lifts. And it'll make you feel good. It really, those to me make my pain go away quicker now than just doing the passive stuff. Like once you get to a point where you've done it a lot, you can not do it every week, kind of feel it flare up. It's like a check engine light in a car. Boom, let me pull out my pain playbook, let me get my hip flexor guide. This whole thing without me rambling, once you not, take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes, promise. I just talk a lot. Cool. Last part. So, got to move, Greg. We don't even need the notes. I know it all. I hope. So, last thing we're going to go through, right? Kind of full circle with this. We just did range of motion, active all the way through what we could control, right? Now, we're going to work on active range of motion through our end ranges of motion, right? So, example of end range of motion for my active range of motion. Probably a better way to say that, you get the idea. I'm leg raising. I happen to know I'm a little past this box height. I can hold there for a second. So that's where I really start to struggle, right? That's my end of my active range. Like I can hold there, but guess what's going to go first is I fatigue that little bit, right? So two things we can do with these. We can do isometrics and we can do pulses. Potato, depending on who you ask, mix them together, do them separate. I like them both. Kind of just depends on what mood I'm in, how I want to torture myself, because these are kind of suck. I'm gonna move these plates real quick. Hope y'all like this video though, man. All right, let's get back to it. Thanks for that word from our sponsors. No sponsors. All right. So I set up, I'm right below where my active range of motion already ends. And I could do this in this position. Get creative with it. Again, use the principles. Surprise me. You might find something I haven't thought of. I could do the side. You could certainly, in that Nordic we were just in, do a hold down there. Kettlebell hip flexors. You can literally hold. So that's just an isometric hold, right? We're challenging those end ranges of motion. Still active though, because we're flexing and using our muscles. It's really hard to be an end active passively. If that makes sense. Like example, this with my foot pressing on this right now is me in like a passive range of motion here, right? So I'm not flexing anything. My hip flexor's honestly crouched over itself, folded. So I'm gonna get ready. I'll show you guys pulses first. So pulses, just like we talked about, I'm not kicking from the foot. It's the same concept. Flexing from the localized area that I'm trying to target. Boom. Controlled on the way down. Even if it's 4 inches of range of motion, it's the freaking most controlled 4 inches ever. That's what she said. Hope that doesn't get me banned. Couldn't resist. Boom. Boom. Trying to stay straight. I'm trying to fight leaning back. It's hard. That's why I stabilize myself in here so much. Boom. Just like that. Pulse. Literally like it sounds. Your pulse. You're flexing, unflexing. Pulses. Second way. Switch legs, coming a little tired. Just an ISO hold. Going for time. So I can set up here. See, I haven't been using this leg this much, so I don't know if you guys noticed. Go back a couple seconds. I just picked up this joker so much higher, like my other foot when I was just doing those pulses. I was not getting this high. Back to straight holds. But, whew, that just goes to show you, like, just from me doing this leg to demo, you could see the difference, right? So imagine when you get stronger, the difference in that. It's not your joints stiff or you need more passive. You just got to get stronger. And most people don't want to hear that. To be honest, they don't want to be like, why my hip flexors are weak. And they think, oh, bring it around town. Little Johnny Bravo, good to go. Got to get them swole. I lied, guys. Let me pick this up. I think that's it, though. Pulses, long duration ISOs. Oh, long duration ISOs. Those are kind of like going back to one. They are, like step one, they're fatiguing as crap. They will tire you out. But it is low on your overall system. So you can be sore, feel that mug the next day. But if you had to squat, you had to run, you got your blood flowing, it won't be that serious overall. It actually probably enhance your performance or keep you feeling good, right? Because we need that stuff to get turned on. We want active muscles, especially our little muscles that sometimes get overstretched, underutilized, and I'll say washed out by some of our bigger muscles, like our quads, glutes, things like that. So that's it. Bye. Happy Monday.